I'm okay, but uh, so yesterday I thought there was a recorded session, and for some reason I thought that it was a recorded session that was being played. But now I realize that record actually means that you're recording it.
That's right.
I'm good with it.
We're recording and we're going. We are live now. We are on LinkedIn. We are on Twitch. We are on Periscope and on YouTube. And we are embarking in this really fun conversation about a Bitcoin building. Not a true building at all. But wouldn't that be really cool? Like, we could solve all the problems with sustainability. We can save all the problems with the energy utilization, that whole entire demand, and figure out a way maybe we can make it a net zero building. I don't know. I would love some really amazing ideas. If you guys want to join our conversation, I'm going to go ahead and make sure we put in the chat how you can join this conversation and actually share with us your ideas on what you think you might want to do in this quote unquote Bitcoin building. I want to design it. So, that being said, we're kicking off a conversation. This is our smart city community. And I'm excited to have a few common attendees here in the room. If you don't know me already, I am Brittany Campbell-Turner, CEO and founder at Constructor. We are all about collaborative contracting. We are all about blockchain and doing exciting things in the space. Don, did you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. Thank you, Brittany. My name's Don Bowden, and I'm doing a technology startup and doing that with two co-founders, and Brittany and Marcus, helping make the construction payment process much more painless and efficient.
Excellent. Thank you, Don. Marcus, how about you?
My name's Marcus Turner. I am the other half of Constructor. My biggest focus right now is focusing on helping contracting or building collaborative models.
Seems like that's my cue to go next. Hello, everyone. My name is Amir Ali Shalwani, and I'm working as an owner's rep for a real estate investment company called Iki.
Sweet.
Well, Brittany, I don't know if a Bitcoin building is quite sustainable, but we're going to try to help the sustainability process. So my vote is taking the mining machines from having a mining machine actually in the basement and using the excess heat to heat the building.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a good idea, Marcus. I think, and how about a building which is right next to an energy source, probably a river or a windmill, so that it has its own energy and probably green energy, because because of the environmental impact and making it more sustainable. And sort of, why not? And just an idea out there. Why not just coagulate the concept of green building into that too?
So you're saying like green rooftops?
Yes, that is correct.
Well, Don, I know you're all about the exciting world of concrete right now, and you're at the conference about it. So, is there any big news that we could actually use for this, from what you've learned so far with
The beautiful world of concrete. How else can you say it? It's well, it's the first time I've ever been to this conference. Kay and I are out here. We got here yesterday, and we're returning tomorrow. But strangely enough, I came and met Tim Kennedy, which is somebody I met on Clubhouse, and he has a decorative concrete finishing business, and has multiple offices across different cities around the country. Does a lot of work for Walmart and polishing their floor, so for customers. So, but he's also kind of into the blockchain thing, and we had dinner last night and talked about blockchain. And uh, Tim mentioned to me today that he spoke to several people that are very interested in blockchain and more interested in how this new payment approach could benefit them. So I think we're probably getting a little bit of traction out here. That's all.
That's awesome, Don. And and that's something that we can dig into a little bit more, but I do want to welcome Myra to the stage. Welcome, welcome. We are recording and we are streaming as well. But what I do want to share here is we're just having fun figuring out what a design can incorporate for a Bitcoin building, and then how might we go about doing it. So we can come back to the payment question in a few moments. But Myra, please introduce yourself. And if you have any ideas, please jump in.
Oh, sorry, someone was first calling me. So I have a background in GIS. I like data visualization, and I'm really trying to involve that with XR. I do not know anything about this topic, so I cannot comment. But yeah, guys, thank you. I'm pretty interested. What you guys what you guys will say. So yeah, thank you for having me.
Well, we're trying to make the building really smart, so visualization tools will be needed. So I'm sure you have some contributions on that.
Yeah, that sweet spot of sustainability, right? Like, how can we possibly be net zero? And how can we possibly incorporate as much technology and build it in a smart way so that maybe we can offset perhaps some of these energy concerns that people are always talking about when it comes to Bitcoin. Again, we're just having fun with the topic here. Welcome, Monica, to the room. Um, Welcome, Stephanie. We're just having fun with this conversation, and we welcome your ideas. How could we potentially make a Bitcoin building? Again, just having fun with the idea. What might you include? What would you think about as it relates to making it smart, making it worthwhile to enter into it? Like, will we have rocket ships everywhere? Will we have will we have pictures that represent like Bitcoin everywhere? Curious as to your thoughts.
Oh yeah, we're gonna go into the design. I'm Raleigh. Yeah, you have some design ideas for this.
I I do, and I think those are um, first of all. I think if we get into the hall, have a big Bitcoin, the symbol of Bitcoin there hanging up on the rooftop, just like a chandelier. And I know it's going to consume a lot of energy, but we're thinking about how to make it net zero. So we'll probably figure that out too. But yeah, that's sort of my visualization of a rotating door into that, and the first thing that you see is that big Bitcoin symbol, Bitcoin chandelier rotating. It should be rotating around to give that 3D effect, and probably I think um, I don't know, maybe even add some holographic to it, and probably Myra can help us with that. But yeah, that would be something that I would love to see is that, and sort of gives me the just talking about it. I think it's we pretty much similar to the architecture of Burj Al Arab. If anyone has seen the inside of it, it's a big hallway with the rooms at the periphery of it. So something like that that gives it a, a perception of something very open and at very humongous and at the same time. So yeah, that would be the first thing that I would want to see in a building. What do you guys think?
I think you should also pay tribute to the Gorilla Game
I
somewhere.
I totally agree, and I think that would be the. I think we were talking about it. I think that could be our mascot, the gorillas and apes.
Definitely.
Official mascots of our building would be that. Maybe have a King Kong mascot at the side of our building, just to represent that. I would love to see that.
An arcade with Donkey Kong too, and
Yeah,
we only play Phoenix Sun.
I agree. I agree. Why not?
So if you guys aren't catching the Bitcoin culture, I will tell you that it is definitely really, really funny and interesting. Whenever Bitcoin goes up, people send each other oh yeah, fraudulent slip, rocket ships. And then also when they want to get in on the investment fully, they send, I'm going in on ape. So for those of you who don't know, that's the funny kind of culture that they're talking about that could potentially go into this building. So just to kind of reset the room, this is the Smart City community, and we are just having fun talking about what could possibly go into the design of a Bitcoin building. We've heard some really fun ideas thus far. We want to make sure it's sustainable when we're thinking about it and smart. Um, and just have some cool stuff to like do. Um, I know Nineveh just joined the room. We have Monica hanging out, Stephanie. Welcome to the room. Love to hear your ideas. And then I just want to mention, too, if you come up on stage, we are recording, we are streaming. We're on YouTube, we're on Facebook, we're on Twitch and LinkedIn. So just know that before you speak, that we are live. But we welcome you to contribute to the conversation. And we want to invite those of you who are listening out there to jump in on the conversation. I did put the invite in the chat. Please shoot me a note if you have any troubles getting in, and I will make sure you have an invitation. All right. So, Nineveh, do you have any ideas for us?
Hey, Brett. No, I'm just getting off a work call and playing a little bit of a catch up here. But maybe wanted to quickly ask, can you describe a Bitcoin building? Like when you say design a Bitcoin building, where does that idea come from?
So we had a podcast, which I should probably find the link to, and it was actually educating a person who was very influential in the BIM space about what blockchain could do, how it could be capable, how to actually help within design and building sustainable systems. And basically, a pun came through is to increase adoption block for blockchain and blockchain technology is basically just build a Bitcoin building and build in its honor and put everything that you can do to make it smart and sustainable in the building. Since people are concerned about sustainability issues, you can have windows that actually are that can catch the heat and be able to transfer the heat. Another example we can say as far as smart ideas is being able to, as you're walking through the floors, you put pressure sensors through the floor so you know where foot traffic is, so you can know you can clean. Also putting sensors into the bathrooms to know how many times the toilet was flushed, so you can actually be able to service those bathrooms. Another example that I gave earlier, which was um, since Bitcoin mining is really awesome, it's a big thing. Have a whole entire basement filled with Bitcoin miners, so the building's actually being able to generate revenue for itself. and you can take the extra heat from all the miners that are there to use to heat up the building in different ways. You can use it to heat up the water and other things like that. So, whatever you can think of to actually help this building. We also even joked about, or actually, I wouldn't say joke, more serious. We're gonna actually have the ape as a mascot, and we're only going to play Phoenix Suns games. And if the team or if the sports team doesn't have an ape as a mascot, we're not going to play it within the building. I'm pretty sure you spit out your one.
No, that's impressive. Thanks, Marcus. It's quite literally a Bitcoin building. You are utilizing it to its best potential and going along the concept of smart cities and, you know, just kind of utilizing that energy in the best way possible. So, yeah, thank you for explaining that. And I love it. I feel like I'm playing a little bit of catch up as well.
Feel free to contribute at any time. Don, was there anything about Hemp Crete there? Since we're talking about sustainability and
Was there anything in
on
what?
About Hemp Crete and at the location? Was there anything about Hemp Crete?
I haven't seen that. I did walk around the floor a little bit, but I didn't walk around the entire thing. So what is that? Is that a additive to the concrete process?
I haven't really gotten too deep into the details about using alternative use of concrete. Actually, there's here's actually a shout out to a room. There's definitely a person on Clubhouse. She goes by the username Hemp Crete Queen, and has a room all about hempcrete and the benefits of it. But it's supposed to be able to be actually stronger and be able to take some of the stress that basic concrete cannot do.
Well, I haven't seen that so far at the show. I'll look up at the directory. But I have heard that hemp does have very strong fiber characteristics. So I can see where that might make some sense. And it's supposed to be fairly economic to grow.
Absolutely, it is. And just a quick search: hempcrete is developed from a mixture of hemp chives, a lime-based binder. The lime-based binder typically consists of hydrated lime or natural hydraulic lime, and that hydraulic lime is made from pure limestone set through the absorption of CO2 during the carbonation process. So, really, really interesting stuff. Some of the benefits are it has a very huge ability to absorb or release vapor from the air. So that's really interesting. But in addition to that, to your point, Don, it can grow really quickly. So is a very sustainable material, hemp particularly to bring into concrete design. To your point, there is a prior guest on the Constructor podcast who is very passionate about hempcrete, Stephen Cutter. Marcus, if you can post that in the chat, that would be really great. So we have a couple people who have jumped up onto the stage here. We want to welcome you. We are live stream on LinkedIn, on Twitch, on Periscope, and on YouTube. So just remember, before you speak, you are sharing with the broader community. So we welcome you, Nastasia and Anthony. We want your ideas. We're in jest wanting to design a Bitcoin building, and we want it to be the awesomest building in the world, and even help with some of the energy offset. So if you guys have any ideas, we welcome them. Nastasia, if you want to share a little bit about you and jump in if you have any ideas, and Anthony. You'll be next.
Well, hello, crew. This is Nostalgia, and thanks for welcoming me back up on the stage. And I'm always over my head in your smart city community because I'm not in the construction space, I'm in aerospace. And I just like thinking out of the box and I just spout whatever's on my mind. So I'm a little unorthodox in that way. But I'm interested in this Bitcoin building because I've been deep diving into the crypto space for the past couple of weeks and have been intrigued by this environmental impact. So it's interesting that Marcus was talking about Hemp Crete because not only would that potentially help offset any environmental concerns involved in Bitcoin mining or any type of crypto mining. But then I'm thinking about the surrounding area where this can potentially be a space where it provides jobs because somebody has to, harvest that hemp and process it. Or even if it's going to be done by AI and robots, somebody has to manufacture those robots, fix those robots. So I'm really intrigued where this conversation is going.
So
Go ahead, Anthony.
No, I was saying I
Oh.
was done speaking.
So I was a little late to the conversation, but if you could give me a little bit of clarity and direction, are we building a building from Bitcoin using Bitcoins? Or are we building a Bitcoin building that is eco-friendly and can either be a data center or a crypto hashing facility, or is it a multi-dwelling unit? What type of building are we?
You just gave us some ideas with that, Anthony, that I didn't even think about. But um, basically, we're going to try to build this in the metropolitan area, and we want to be able to build a building in its honor. As far as paying for the building, it'd be also fun to be able to only to accept or fund the building would be good to only accept crypto. But we're trying to go for sustainability and smart. So smart sensor technology, which is totally up your alley, um, and using wireless devices and trying to make this building as smart as we possibly can. So um, we just gave some ideas. I gave an idea about using the miners and putting it in the basement, and then using cogeneration to be able to heat either water or be able to heat the building itself. And sustainability, we talked about Hemp Crete. Amirali talked about putting it next to water so it can actually use some of the resources there as well. So, but those are our ideas so far for our Bitcoin building.
Very good. So that's very interesting. So maybe if we're going with a mixed use building where we have some retail space and some living residential space, what I could add in is definitely building automation systems on the HVAC and create a digital twin of the building, and also using um, artificial intelligence, not only in the network infrastructure, but also in the video surveillance network. Everything would be touchless as far as touchless access control. It would have um, contact tracing, it would have occupancy, light sensors, motion sensors, automatic dimming windows, light harvesting devices, and also a solar roof. We can make this zero carbon and also use passive construction in the building. And then we could top that off with it being totally off the grid, but we'll still have it connected to the electric grid as a redundant power supply. But with all the solar capabilities built in to the roof and into the walls, out exterior walls, we would be able to run it without any electric or natural gas bill. I'm Anthony.
Anthony, I love what you just shared. Definitely a mic drop on all of these solutions. I know you think about this kind of stuff on a day-to-day basis, how to make things smart and how to make things sustainable and great for well-being as people enter into the space. Um, we did talk about last week quite a bit about actually a design project that I worked on years ago that ended up being net positive. And we did some similar solutioning about a visionary goal, right? Of how do you create a net positive building, whereby you are actually giving energy back to the grid, versus having to pay an electric bill, right? And so that's not as common as people think, but it exists today, and there are many solutions on how to do that. And I think, Anthony, a lot of the solutions that you just described make up what that can yeah, and that can allow for that to take place. So, Anthony, if you have a comment, I saw you come off mute.
Oh, there's more that we could add into it too, but that was a good icebreaker. I'll let some other people comment, and we could build.
Well, Brittany, I just checked the exhibitor list at the World of Concrete show and did not see Hemp Crete listed, unfortunately.
What are they
But I will
doing?
say, one of the great things, I don't know, but one of the great things is if they're not making concrete, then you can always smoke it. So,
Yeah.
so it's a multi-purpose utilization.
Where's our friend Jalen? Oh man. Yes, yes. Oh man. Well, we're looking forward
Maybe
to
they spend a little. I was just going to say maybe they spent a little too much time in research and development and only ended up with concrete at the end.
I
That
mean,
very well could be the case, Anthony.
All
we can
right.
also take this to the metaverse, Brittany. So we can have a metaverse version of this building.
I'm actually a little shocked. I was just kind of doing some research here. It looks like the whole concept of net has been quite a thing.
Then we can't hear you
Are
too
we
well.
losing then, or is that?
Yeah. Oh, can you hear me now? Hey guys, can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, good. No, I was actually just doing some research, Brittany, on the whole concept of, the net zero energy real estate. Looks like it it's been on the rise for over a decade now. It's super interesting, and I'm just curious on how that has evolved over time, and just as it combines with like the Bitcoin building. Um, didn't realize that it's been around for so long.
Yeah, people have been going after sustainability goals for a while. There's some, I think, uh, like the GBA was formed like probably over 30 or 40 years ago now. Green Building Association, where they were trying to, before Brittany, we actually interviewed somebody who was in the green building space before he was even called that. She was based out of New York, and it was I can't think of her name right now. Um,
Are you talking about Barbara Botsalone?
that is correct.
Yeah, we got to tag her in this post to let her know that we're talking about her and remembering what she contributed. And I think, she just started a really simple like round table of how can we design smarter with more longevity and just better spaces in mind. And that's how she kicked it off. She just said, "Hey, can we sit down and meet and talk about this on a cadence?" Like, I don't remember if it was a weekly or monthly basis, but it's having conversations like this, thinking outside of the box of like, what can we do? How can we do this that is really tangible, and trying to apply it to realistic applications. Like, we're talking about a Bitcoin building and we're just designing this. This is pie in the sky stuff. We're definitely not going to actually build a Bitcoin building unless somebody actually wants to invest in that. So if there are investors out there, please, we will take your investment. Please pay in Bitcoin. However, that being said, um, we're just visionaries right now, thinking about things that would make it fun and exciting. I know, Nineveh, you're a fan of the Oculus, and I'm thinking about how could we incorporate VR, XR into the space. We have a good friend, Paul Doherty, who has helped to design a virtual reality theme park in China. And there's definitely ways we could think about what that kind of technology could look like in a building here to make it even more exciting. And maybe I don't know, like the possibilities are endless. Maybe we could be doing those games, like playing those games that you play in Oculus uh, within the building. Maybe there's like a rec center in order for people to play, and they can, have a box for them to move within, and they can play in one facility on one of the floors. So just throwing that out as an example. Amarali, you're back. Welcome back again. But yeah, love to hear more ideas on what could potentially be this visionary pie in the sky idea that perhaps we'll bring into our lines of thinking as we're doing our practical day-to-day stuff.
Are you willing to accept Satoshis? Because I don't think anybody's going to give up one bit.
So at least my vision of it will accept all cryptocurrencies that someone wants to give up. We're only going to build it in the Bitcoin building because Bitcoin was the thing that actually made all these other things viable.
We would also accept Doge and Shiba as well. And sorry, Nastasia.
No, I was asking what would be the ROI for the investor.
Ooh, good question. Good question. I'll probably, relate. I'll probably let Brittany and
I gotta ponder that one, Nastasia. That's a really good question. We'd have to make it a destination location. It'd have to be really, really worthwhile to go there. Maybe we do NFTs where they have a certain amount of access. I don't know. Maybe we got to think about this one some more. I do want to welcome Stephanie to the stage. Curious as to whether you have ideas. Please introduce yourself and share your thoughts on what could be implemented in the Bitcoin building.
Hi, I'm Stephanie, and I work in construction tech. I wanted to come up on the stage because I feel that if we're going to talk futuristically, we kind of have to think about it in the context of the reality of today. And although we talk about VC and sort of the glamour around the future, I still think it has to be aligned with the reality of today. So I'm here to throw a little bit of a pail of cold water on the conversation and say, how do we actually incorporate the disparity between the rich and the poor, and knowing that VCs will back where they're going to find their return, and yet we're talking about futuristic buildings that, allow us to um, add an element of sustainability into those buildings. But meanwhile, you could have still a bunch of homeless people all around the building itself. So that's why I think we have to start to think holistically, is my point.
I
And if these are
love
going to be
that.
smart buildings, then they have to serve the neighborhoods they are built in.
I love that so much, Stephanie.
That's it. I'm done.
You know what? If it's going to be a net positive building where we're producing energy, why not produce energy for surrounding neighborhoods? Or at least one true neighborhood that really needs it, right? We've talked about access to the most fundamental things in these smart city conversations. Like, what is a smart city? We've talked about that so much. We've asked that question and tried to define it at its granularest level. And what I keep coming back to is access to the fundamental things for a citizen to be supported to live their day-to-day life well. So that's access to healthcare, that's access to residences, right? Affordable residences, grocery stores, right? We know about food deserts. That's very prominent in inner city neighborhoods. It's about making sure that's accessible. It's about making sure internet is accessible. And if I might plug, there we are having a live stream on Friday talking with very knowledgeable folks about internet access for all. And Anthony Berry, who's on our call on our room today, he will be joining in that conversation on Friday. Feel free to join that session. It's at noon central on all of the platforms we're sharing on right now. But to your point, Stephanie, is how do you bring it back to the basics so that the people who really have a need, they get what they need in said city, and how can said Bitcoin building help with that? How can we help solve the problem? I love that perspective.
If I can just follow up with just a little bit of this, I also think then you have to understand the levers of and the mentalities of VCs, and that in order to start to really practice the equality that we all seem to want, you have to have VCs, I hate to say it, but have some sort of a political middle ground. It's not a right and it's not a left, it's a middle, because we all live in the middle. There's nobody that lives, I guess that's not true. You can't generally, you can't make a broad brush, but there's a unique person who is only and exclusively left leaning. There's only the unique person who is only exclusively right leaning. And when we start bringing in these other factors of which buildings are, because they put roofs over our heads, whatever they are, you have to start then knowing that you're going to find the funding for these ideas in that kind of political environment. That's it. I'm done speaking again.
So to that point, I understand the equality and the inclusion, and that's going to take us down a whole different path and off topic. And even if they were buildings and smart buildings and structures, and even if it was for the homeless and they were free to live in, that doesn't end or stop the hunger and homeless issue and poverty that we have going on here in the United States. Um, but getting back to the topic of the Bitcoin building, because this is one episode that we're having right now, and we can't solve all the world problems in this one episode. So let's see if we could get back onto the Bitcoin building and what we can add to make this unique.
Yeah, I think to that point, I think I have I've got a just a and I'm glad that Nastasia is just back in the room because going back to the ROI, the return on investment in this building, right? And just thinking out loud here, if and I heard Marcus saying that this is something where you educate people on the use of Bitcoin or what Bitcoin is and the technology behind it. We've also sort of um, talked about the Bitcoin mining machines that are at the basement or the lower levels of the building, which would generate heat, which could either be used directly in that building for various purposes, and if it's something that exceeds, and if we're energy sufficient, then we can actually provide it to the adjacent buildings around it, and sort of you know sort of giving it back to the community, or helping the community grow together. That could be done too. And specifically coming to the ROI, right? And it's a good point where how should we, what the foot traffic that comes in, and how about just have it as um, an exhibition building, because one, it's doing it purpose of mining Bitcoin at the lower levels, and the substructure or the structure that's above ground is sort of a um, it's something that can be used to educate people on that, and then like Brittany said, have a entire floor with VR technology, and have literally have some very learning teaching sessions that could use that. And not just that, but the entire building, the layout, the design of the building is very much centered around the history of Bitcoin, of uh, how Bitcoin was, the sentiment around Bitcoin. And just one thing that I could think about it, and I did say it at the beginning, is have a very big chandelier, a Bitcoin chandelier in the middle, have the elevators as rockets, just to signify that to the moon, you know perception that people had, and still do have, still they still have that. So everything around that just becomes a tourist attraction spot. And once there, it's doing its primary purpose of mining Bitcoin, it's doing its secondary purpose of educating people, and on how to adopt, or adoption of Bitcoin. And third, you have a good business model that's running, that's sustainable. Fourth, it is, we're trying to make it more sustainable, so that it has the environmental impact that is usually associated with Bitcoin mining. We're trying to minimize that, or probably, hopefully, making it zero. And then towards the end, um, using the same building to help the neighborhood around it, by if we are net positive in heat generation, we could do that too. So yeah, that those are some really good points that I was just thinking out loud. I don't know if that makes sense, but
So could we potentially put out, like, not a petition, but state that all new schools, and even potentially retrofit schools, because I want to revamp the entire education system from the ground up, but saying that all schools need to have mining in their basement, and then you can teach people and have a hands-on slash XR type of exhibition. So you won't just have one dedicated building to Bitcoin. That could be like the central location, but then you can have, to Stephanie's point, when you're going out into the community, you can have micro Bitcoin centers or something that are still producing that energy, that heat, and then it still allows for, like, the community to have access, right? Not everybody can get to the Bitcoin building, right? So if we have smaller ones and you can teach kids about, we're just saying Bitcoin, but crypto period, and then blockchain technology, and then it starts becoming foundationally integrated in the education system, so everybody's blockchain literate and financially illiterate.
So you're Nostalgia and I'm Morale. You guys are touching on the second part of this conversation. We weren't starting with the Bitcoin building, then we were going to go to the blockchain city. So thank you for showing a preview of the part two.
So I have another interesting add-on to the building, to where we'll bring in VR and gamify our gym in the building, to where we're going to connect it to some of the brand new Turntide smart motor systems, by Turntide Technologies, and connect that to some of the battery storage, that will store the energy that's generated from the building. But in the gym, you'll have your VR headset, and we'll gamify, um, the bikes, the climbers, and the stair climber machines, and also the treadmills. And not only is it gamified, but when you're pedaling and when you're stair climbing, you're generating energy that can be used by the building. So you make it fun and gamify the fitness and your health, that you're getting in the building, but returning the energy, and you'll see how much energy you're adding to the building while you're either on the bike or the treadmill or what have you.
I like that. And to build on Anthony's idea about generating energy, you can actually probably, I don't know if you can do this now, but look into piezoelectric for the floors. So that even the casual walkers are generating small bits of energy for everywhere else and within the building.
Can somebody elaborate a little bit more on smart cities and how buildings would communicate with one another?
So I don't know, as far as communicating buildings with one another. Um, they could, if a building's generating, enough energy to send back to the electric grid, they could do that. Communications between buildings, could be wired or wireless to devices. Usually, if they're city-owned buildings, it could go back to one central location, or their NOC, their Network Operations Center, where they could see the performance and the indoor air quality of the buildings that are owned by either a city or a building owner that has multiple buildings. But generally, building to building of different ownership, um, there's not much value, between the buildings, or for them to invest in some sort of inner building communication if it's not human to human. Um, but there are other features and other things that public safety, could adopt, uh, for areas around the building, in their municipalities, for IoT sensors and detection of environmental and, weather conditions, and real time reporting of what's traversing in a given area.
Thank you.
Stephanie, I've heard of, I don't know if Anthony can confirm this or not. I'm leaning on you to confirm it, but I've heard of people thinking about within leasing agreements, tying in energy sharing usage for with the different tenants in the building. So if there's less people in a in a certain building, they can just basically sell that energy to another tenant within inside the building, and then to even build that out further from a broader scale. It's the same thing with energy usage for high demands for buildings in general. So, like, let's say if one building's having a conference and they're going to use up a lot of energy, and the another building's not necessarily going to be able to basically the another building's not going to next to it's not going to be able to use it. They could sell that energy back and forth to each other. But I don't know if I can't remember um, if I can find any resources of that actually happening right now. Anthony, have you heard of any people doing?
I've heard it at a couple events that I was at in 2019. talking about using blockchain and smart contracts to do that with. I have not seen it in the real world in a real time deployment yet. But yes, I have heard about that, and it's pretty interesting.
To follow up on that, I have had a podcast conversation with Siemens, who has worked with a startup called LO3 on actually doing creating a platform to sell energy on a microgrid. And I know LO3 had successfully done some pilots in Brooklyn, and this must have been about 4 years ago or so. So I suspect that there are more organizations that Siemens was looking for to invest into in order for that to be successful. But the only program that I know that tested that and was able to do that was LO3. So it's definitely out there as a um, possibility for residential locations. From a commercial perspective, really easy to do as well. Selling excess energy is easier than you think, which is great.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, Siemens does have an infrastructure platform for being able to sell energy back to the grid, and I know ComEd is experimenting with it with their own microgrid technology, but I don't know if it sounds kind of tough when a electricity company is trying to develop microgrid technology for itself. So I don't know if that really went off the ground that well. But from that company's standpoint of what they were looking for was more about resiliency across their network.
All right, so since we're
I think that idea probably has legs anyway, because again, with the security interruptions around, uh, the grid, that would that would be a to me a decent use case.
Hey, Jesse, Haley, I don't know if you guys would be interested in contributing to the conversation. Jesse, I know you came in late, so trying to grasp what was going on is probably was different. But I know, Lee, you work in project management, so I'm sure you have some project management ideas that could actually help us actually facilitate this conversation.
I just came back, guys. What did I?
We talked about basically microgrids and be able to do energy trading between the building and between the tenants. I think that's what you missed.
Like in like a credit form, like energy credits, or in like a token type of.
Actually, you could do both. Um, the power companies were looking for it to. ComEd was just looking for it for more resiliency, and we talked about a company called LO3 and Siemens backing that technology to be able to um, facilitate that, and they have a lot of infrastructure built in. But hello, Jeff.
Hello, Marcus, Brittany, Miss Stephanie. Thank you for allowing me to speak. I guess first off, I enjoy joining these y'all's rooms because y'all are thinking at a level way beyond my reach. So it really challenges me and adds tremendous value in terms of thinking about what's possible. Now, as y'all, I jumped in late and I heard part of the conversation around harnessing the power produced from uh, uh, exercise equipment. And I just toured the Lifetime Fitness facilities here, and these facilities, like, there's just in my head it's like, duh, there's so much potential there to utilize the equipment to produce energy. And then here at the end you talked about um, selling energy back, or just selling energy, period. So that's I mean, I don't know how to make that happen or how far away we are from making that happen, but it feels like an absolute next step. And on the same token, I can't remember which Disney movie it was, but I'm thinking of some animated cartoon about where human beings were really just being used to generate energy. Um, so I hope I didn't degrade the conversation very much with my comments, but that's where my head's at right now. I'm Jesse, and I'm done speaking.
Haley,
Hey there.
I know you've been listening to this conversation for a while, but is there anything that you found that could be helpful to contribute to this big?
Not too much. All that I can say is it's definitely a very intriguing concept, and I really I echo what Stephanie said. She mentioned that it has legs, and I'm quite fascinated. I think it does too. So I'd like to listen a little more and play around with these kinds of ideas in my head. It's really interesting to see where technology is going in the future.
Well, I can't wait to see your detangling.
Thanks.
Jesse, to your point about the humans generating energy, I don't know. I don't think you were here when Anthony was talking about having a fitness center and using some of the machines and bicycles within inside the center to collect energy, so we can distribute that back into the building. So humans are actually doing working out, but also contributing to the energy that the building is actually producing. And then we talked about, I gave an example of being able to use piezoelectric. So as the foot traffic is just walking through the building on a regular basis, being able to capture that and be able to send it back to the building as well. So those are two ways where humans can actually create energy for the building.
Yeah, that's again, pardon me for my goofiness. Um, it I think that's phenomenal. I think that would benefit us in terms of managing our natural resources in a much more compassionate and responsible way. And at the same time, it makes me think of the Matrix, which I if we go there, I just want to be Neo. I'm Jesse. I'm talking.
Well, the metaverse conversation was added to this too, so we can have a VR room where you can actually be Neo, and the building can transform within to the metaverse and be other activities and ways that we can actually interact with the building as well. And they would also get people who didn't know about the building can kind of experience the building within the metaverse as well.
Yeah, and then maybe we can get some Looney Tunes characters to show up and open up a Space Jam portal.
Oh yeah.
How about we move on from Looney Tunes and make cartoons out of cryptocurrency and make that the new Looney Tunes. If that makes, I don't know if I'm making sense, but in my head now I'm imagining Bitcoins, Dogecoins, Ethereum. They all have their own characters and mascots, and now they're the cartoon, and then that's how they let you explore the building.
Like Bitcoin Bunny instead of Bugs Bunny, and Dogecoin Duck instead of.
No, with the Dogecoin, there's just like the dog
right.
with the Shiba.
That one.
Yeah, and no, that's fine. That's fine. But yeah, you're definitely you're there, and gives you that crypto experience, where people of all ages. I mean, I want to, have that VR experience, where these mascots are there, and then you're having fun with it, and then like Niniwa said, is entire and opens an entire new universe, a multiverse of crypto, um, mascots and crypto.
Well, I know for us in the IT realm right now, just I think on a more practical level, we're exploring, yes, the VDI, but we're also thinking about AI and some other uses that AI can provide for us. And we're toying around the idea of actually having holograms, so holographic guides, people that actually float around in the lobby, and you can talk to that hologram, and that hologram will, give you information, just like a real person would. So that's definitely something that we are toying with right now at the moment.
That's good. That can actually leverage natural language processing. Um, to your area, I was thinking about you can have an area for another mascot. I don't know. This would have to be a bar of some kind or some type of adult entertainment, where there's another coin out there called Guap Coin, and you can actually uh, be able to make a character for that, where people are hanging out by a bar and there's a Lambo in the middle or something.
Yeah, read the holographic idea that you just brought up. I think, and I think at the start of the room, I was imagining something where there's a big, probably why just limit to Bitcoin now, have those holographic, um, impressions all around the building, and have those as big, or even changing holographics, right, from Bitcoin to Ethereum to Dogecoin or whatever, right? Ethereum Classic or whatever other cryptocurrencies out there. Um, that would be something very interesting, and yeah, yeah, it's. I'm having fun in my mind now, literally going into that realm of what we're talking here.
Amarali, have you visited the multiverse on the Oculus? It's very relatable to a lot of things that you're talking about. But then my imagination is just like running away with me right now.